What's up, everybody? This is Sean Ferrer once again. It is Monday. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you didn't know already, I am the culturally woke Republican. I have a whole bunch of interesting, crazy topics to talk about today, but I do want to give a shout out to everybody that liked the videos. Any subscribers that I have, I really appreciate all of you. I mean, personally, I really didn't think I'd get any, but apparently there are a few people that are actually intelligent. So, let's go right into it. Okay, first thing is, and I always pick 5 topics on this. Okay, first thing is co-founder of Black Lives Matter, Patrice Cullors, considered a fraud. Never saw that one coming, huh? Well, the rest of the intelligent community did. But anyway, she bought a $1.4 million home in a literally 90% white neighborhood. Very upscale neighborhood of California. Okay? What I'm curious about is the idea that this is one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm like, well, I mean, if Black Lives really matter, wouldn't she have bought like a $1 million home? Trust me, I'm going to get to the money here in a second. But wouldn't she have bought like a $1 million home in like a $1 million black neighborhood? Because I mean, they hate white people so much, so I'm just curious. You know what I mean? I think to myself, I'm like, okay, where are we going here? But let's circle back, like Jen Psaki says all the time. And $1.4 million. Do you know that Black Lives Matter over, I don't know, a year, 2 years? I don't know what the statistic is, so I won't even specify or, even try. Okay, but they've raised $90 million. Like, literally, they're almost at $100 million. And it's still counting. Okay? So, did she take that 1.4 from the Black Lives Matter movement? From the the organization? That's supposed to be a non-profit organization. They only take donations. That's the reason why they don't have to pay taxes. But did she do that? Makes you wonder. And that's the reason why like Fox News, ABC, NBC, and CBS, and all of them are all calling her a fraud right now. And the reason why is because, yeah, that's probably where she got the money. Now, that just brings me to another point. On the idea that if Black Lives Matter really cared about black lives, and they've raised, at this point, $90 million. I mean, I'll say it with another, $90 million. Okay? Wouldn't you think they'd try and improve, like, black neighborhoods? Or maybe, I don't know, send black kids to school, or improve lives of black families, or I don't know, like, I mean, something. But no, they haven't done any of that. They just kind of sit on their money, apparently, and buy $1.4 million mansions when they can. And this is a woman that actually, she deposes herself as a trained Marxist. I don't know. As far as I'm seeing, it sounds more like a capitalist. But, as I always say in most of these videos, what do I know? I'm just a dumb painter, right? Now, the point that I really want to get to on this subject is the idea that, I mean, how can you trust the organization when you see some type of fraud like this? How can you? Oh, trust me, we're going to get to more Black Lives Matter in this podcast. But the point that I'm getting at is, like I said, how can you trust an organization when you see this much fraud? You saw it in the Clinton organization. You saw it in many other organizations through time where, I mean, you know, people, you know, they say it's a nonprofit, they say it's for, you know, charity and things of that nature, but you know what? Somebody's greasing their pocket somewhere. And that's really the way it works. Okay? But on that note, let's move to our second. Now, this is sad, and I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm on the fence about this one, but because I haven't seen the body cam footage, I haven't seen any evidence, I haven't seen the actual serious police report, nothing of that nature, so therefore I'm speculating at this point. So, a black man is killed in Minneapolis, which is like the worst place at this point for a black man to be killed by police in Minneapolis. Okay, I mean, this is the worst. I mean, this is like, I mean, this is like the hammer that drops after the nail. Okay? And then on Sunday night, because of this, 200 people take to the streets in protest and riot. They tear down a Walmart. They destroy a Foot Locker. They destroyed a friggin' pizza joint. I don't know whether they were like trying to steal balls of dough or pepperoni. I don't know. I work as a second job in a pizzeria, so I don't know. I could speculate. But does that solve anything? You don't even know the real truth about the situation. Now, what I've gathered is the victim at this point was Dante Wright. Dante Wright was stopped for a traffic violation. Now, if you watch the video, I will say there are two wrongs going on here. One, the officer that is talking the most, I will say honestly sounds racist. Like, he basically, and Dante Wright is actually wearing he's wearing military fatigues. Like, he's an active member of the U.S. service. So, I mean, at this point, I'm like watching the video going, wow, this is pretty racist. And I'll never call something like that unless I actually see, like, standpoints. I gotta know. You know, there's gotta be facts behind it before I'm ever gonna go, well, that was racist. Okay, but watching the video, I will say that, yeah, it was, I mean, he's telling Dante that, Dante's like, I don't understand what's going on. You know, the cop is, it comes right out in the video. He's like, oh, you're about to ride the lightning. You know, I guess, I don't know. He's trying to, like, rip off his white superiority or some stupid shit. And then the other cop, which is his partner in the video, is actually, like, being more, like, I mean, he has his gun drawn, but at the same time, his partner has his gun drawn. So, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, I would imagine that you would follow your partner because your partner has seen something maybe you haven't. Okay, but that being said, like in the video, Dante has his hands out the window, just like this, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. If the police tell you to put your hands up, well, guess what? You turn the car off, take your seatbelt off, put your hands out the window. They tell you to exit the vehicle. You reach outside the vehicle, open the door from outside, open the door, and get out of the vehicle. I'm not saying that I have experience, but maybe I might. Anyway, the point that I'm getting at is Dante basically resisted arrest. Okay? Basically what happened was, okay, Dante was driving down the road from the initial police report, and he had something blocking something on his car, whatever. He was stopped for a traffic violation. Okay? I actually just got my two stories mixed up, so sorry. So the police pulled him over. They asked for his driver's license, whatever, do a normal traffic stop, this and that. Okay? They run the tags on the car. What it was is, there's actually a warrant for his arrest when they run his ID. Okay, so they already have him out of the car. He jumps back in the car and takes off. Okay, now at this point, okay, the police are actually eligible to give capital punishment to be able to stop the assailant. Okay, so I guess once he gets back in the vehicle, one of the police officers fires, shoots Dante, and he drives several blocks away or whatever and crashes the car. Okay, now, is this a case of police brutality? I don't know. Nobody knows yet. And you're not going to know until the facts in the case come out. That's the reason why we have trials. That's the reason why we have court cases. That's the reason why we have reasonable doubt. That's the reason why we have laws. You know what I mean? These are all fundamental things that all coincide and they all come together. So, you know, I'm actually going to follow this story. Because if there is actual, if this was actually a racist act or a police brutality act, I will stand right next to you and protest. But if it wasn't, and you're just overreacting because it's just another black man getting shot by the police because he resisted arrest or did something stupid, I'm probably going to be less hearted. Okay, let me just specify a statistic that I found. Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, most people will probably remember Dante Wright or George Floyd. How many of you remember Ashley Babbitt? I'll wait. Does anybody remember Ashley Babbitt? Does anybody even remember her name? Well, if you don't remember her name, I'll tell you who she was. She was actually the only civilian that was shot and killed in the Capitol Hill riot. I'm not going to call it an insurgency. It's not. It wasn't. That's not what happened. Okay, but it was a riot. Yes, and those people should be prosecuted to the fullest extent. Because they broke the law. But, do you remember Ashley Babbitt? No, not at all. You want to know why? Because she was a white conservative Republican that happened to go apparently a little cuckoo. And she was in the Capitol building, tried to, I guess, break in a window and was shot by Capitol Police. In the head. She died. One shot. Done. I'm thankful it was that quick. But what I am going to say is nobody remembers her. Nothing. Nothing. You hear nothing. Absolutely nothing. Black Lives Matter. There's no riots. Antifa. Nothing about her. Okay? Do you know between January 1st and March, I actually forget the other March date, there's been 507 white people murdered by police and 221 black. That's the reason why their narrative is fake. Black Lives Matter actually doesn't care about black lives. They're actually an organization now basically derived to grease their pockets. That's the reason why you see Patrice Collard buying a $1.4 million home in a predominantly white neighborhood. You wonder why? Because she knows for a fact that, maybe in that neighborhood she's probably not going to get rioted on anytime soon, even if she messes up. I mean, that might be a little harsh to say, and that might be really derogatory or whatever, but that's just being real. Why would you buy, if you're the co-founder of Black Lives Matter, why would you buy a $1.4 million home in a predominantly white, rich neighborhood? What's the purpose? Doesn't follow your narrative. Doesn't follow anything you believe in. So where's the reasoning? You have to find that. I feel that in life, you have to always focus on what the man's doing behind the curtain. Don't focus on the play that's put out in front of you. Because, you can be educated or entertained by the play that's being put out in front of you. But what you really need to do is focus on the man behind the curtain. Because that's the real story. That's the real person. That's the one you really want to know. You want to know what's going on there. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is you end up like the woke. I mean, I know, I understand, I consider myself the culturally woke Republican. That's actually a play on words that I do, because I feel that if they can call themselves woke, well, so can I. And I think I'm a hell of a lot more woke than they are. Before we get to our third topic, I do want to express, there's a girl out there, and I told her I would call her out. I'm not going to say her last name, so that way you trolls don't look her up. But I did want to call out Brooke in Texas, and I did want to say thank you for the loving comments, and love you, babe. Anyway, I will be right back with more to come and more content. Just give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. See ya. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back. On our third point for the day, okay, is I did want to talk about the jurors in the Derek Chauvin case. Okay, and you do realize that every single one of these jurors, they basically signed up for, I mean, I'm not going to say a death sentence, but they're screwed. There's no way out of this. Okay, if they acquit Derek Chauvin, which there's a possibility there. They acquit him. Okay, there's riots in the streets, there's buildings burning everywhere, and they're all going to be targets. Okay? And then you have the other side, where say they convict him of, I don't even see how they can, but anyway, I mean, they're trying to convict him of murder 1, 2, or 3. I'm still trying to figure out how they can prove that in court, but you never know. But say they convict him, okay, and he goes to prison, okay, they're going to be targets by another group. So that's what I'm trying to say is, like, it's a double-edged sword with them. I feel bad for the jury that's in this case. I really do. Because I feel that, you know, I don't know if they knew, like, all right, first of all, how juries work. Okay, a jury is picked because they basically know nothing about what the case is. So that way they have a non-biased opinion, okay, about what the information that they've been put forward, you know, that's been put forth to them. They have a non-biased opinion. Okay, that being said, I actually feel really bad for them because I'm like, these poor people are in this jury, and yes, they have, you know, a man's life, you know, in their hands. But at the same time, I really don't think, because they knew nothing, I'm hoping that that's the way that jury was picked. That's the way juries are supposed to be picked. So I'm really hoping that that's exactly the way they were picked. And if that's the case, they knew nothing about what the hell they just got into. They have no idea. And trust me, like, people are more than likely, I mean, unless they're, like, held up in, like, some hotel room, like, you know what I mean? Like, secluded and stuff, which is more than likely because of a high-profile case. But, I mean, people are probably already attacking them. Just because they're the jury. And, I mean, when I say attacking, I mean, I'm not saying that, like, someone's, like, knocking at their door, you know what I mean? Like, really, like, messing with them. No, I mean, like, probably on social media. Probably, like, on the phone with their relatives. Things of that nature. You know what I mean? It could go on and on. All right, but like I said, you know, I know it's going to keep going on and on. And I'm kind of like I said, I'm fearful for them. You know, at the end of all this, whatever decision they make, you know, it'll be a just decision. I'm hoping that it's a just jury. And, you know, and I'm not rooting for either side. I'm actually not. As far as I'm concerned, in a court of law, well, guess what? You know, both lawyers or both counsels present their side of the story, and a jury is the one that decides. That's the reason why I love our democracy. I love our republic and how we do judicial stand rights. That being said, let's move on to topic 4. Topic 4. Here's what I was trying to talk about earlier, and I actually got the two stories mixed up, but I was pretty good and followed it through. Anyway, Lieutenant Kelvin Kennan, I am so sorry, Rosario, has filed a lawsuit against the police officer that actually pulled him over. Okay, and the police officer has actually been fired. I actually did not catch what state this happened in, but I do know some fundamentals about the case. Okay, one, I saw the video. Okay, as I said earlier, like I said, I got the two stories mixed up. But Rosario is in the vehicle. He's in military fatigues. He gets pulled over. Now, what you don't know about this story is because if you're going on Twitter or like the initial police report, which is a substandard filing, okay, that's been done about the scene, okay, it's basically the video. But what you don't know is the idea that Lieutenant Kelvin Rosario actually drove a mile. When the lights actually went on, he kept driving. Okay, that's a no-no. You don't do that. I don't care where you are. Let me tell all my listeners. If the police fire up their lights behind you, you pull over immediately. If they want you to move your vehicle to a safer location, they will tell you. Other than that, you pull over immediately. Okay? From watching the video, okay, which I've heard is actually going to be taken off of YouTube. I have no idea why. He's not really, I mean, he has his hands out the window, but he's not giving really any cooperation because one police officer, which is, as far as I'm concerned, he sounds racist. He does. He just sounds racist all day long. I mean, like I said, earlier, like I said, I got the two stories mixed up, but, he's yelling at Rosario, you're about to ride the lightning. Oh, you're in a lot of trouble now. This and that. Rosario's got his hands out the window. You can see his fatigues. Okay. And, they're telling him to get out of the vehicle. Now, at this point, here's what I will advise to all of my listeners. And I think I said this earlier. If they tell you to get out of the vehicle and you have your hands out the vehicle, you reach to the outside of the door lock, open the vehicle, and step out of the car. Okay, this will stop you from having tasers and pepper spray and all types of stuff that they're able to use to be able to get you out of the car. You see what I'm saying? There you go. You just solved the issue. So that in itself, makes me go, ugh, the hell's going on? It's like, I remember a day, I really do. I remember a day back in my past that people actually knew these things as like fundamental aspects. These are like normal things. They were taught to you as young, and you just did it. You just did it. You didn't even contemplate it. The only time you ran from the police, or like, yeah, that's actually what happened to the Black Lives Matter guy. He actually tried to get in, or he's not a Black Lives Matter guy, but that's the reason why. Dante White, that's what happened to him. He decided, because he had a warrant for his arrest, he jumped back in his car and decided to take off, and the police immediately think to himself, well, that means he might have a gun, he might have drugs, he might have killed somebody, he's already got a warrant for his arrest, whatever, and they open fire and they kill him. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, if you don't cooperate, bad things happen. And these men are trained on the aspect, or women, are trained on the aspect of they don't take chances. Like, there's no second guessing. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to a life and death situation for a police officer, they immediately, because they do this constantly, that's their job, they think to themselves, I'm not taking any chances. I'm going to react. And most of the time, well, actually, not most of the time, I'd have to say 50-50. 50% of the time, it doesn't turn out good for the perp. Sometimes it doesn't turn out good for the cop. Look what happened in Colorado. See what I'm saying? Sometimes it works that way. But, who am I to judge? Once again, even in this case, I know there was a lawsuit filed. I don't believe he was cooperating with police. That's the reason why he got sprayed with pepper spray from the one racist cop. The other cop was really cool. He was actually trying to help him. He was trying to help Rosario out of the vehicle. Like, you could see him in the video. He's reaching into the vehicle. Rosario still got his hands up out of the window and everything like that. And then the one cop backs away and the racist cop sprays him in the face. Now, I don't know all the fundamentals of this case. I don't know I know the video that I saw. Okay, I know what Daily Wire has reported on. I know what Newsmax has reported on. Okay, now in either of these cases, do you really think that justice is going to be served by 200 or 300 or 400 or 500 or maybe 1,000 people going out and rioting and burning down their city? Think that's going to work? You must be a special kind of stupid. That doesn't help anybody. You know what? You want to get really into that type of situation? Why don't you go actually peacefully protest at the courthouse where the trial is going to be held? You know what I mean? Why don't you get petitions signed or organize? To burn your neighbor's business because you don't like what the police did that week makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm not going to say I'm the most educated individual whatsoever. I'm not. Okay, I do hold a couple of college degrees, but I've never really done anything with them. So, okay, that being said, I'm not the smartest person on the planet, but this whole entire narrative just sounds completely stupid to me. I think to myself, I'm like, really? That was it, huh? That's what, you know what? Mr. Francis next door, I've actually talked to him. He's had a deli shop that I buy sandwiches in every single day. But you know what? I don't like what that cop did. I'm burning down his shop. That's basically what it sounds like to me. Leftist, fake narratives. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all a facade to make you think that you believe in what they're doing. But in the back of your mind, at least if you're mostly intelligent, you know for a fact that you're like, yeah, a good portion of this sounds pretty stupid. But, you know what I mean? Who am I to say? I can't judge you and you can't judge me, so, there's where we stand, right? Or do we? Now, on to my fifth topic. My nephew, Alex, I won't say his last name either, but my nephew Alex actually said that I should try to talk about, in my fifth topic, which I always leave this as ad-libbed, pop culture. And what type of pop culture I like. Okay, I will say, if you do any history on me, I was actually a musician. I played in bands for a little over 10 years. I was in 2 different cover bands for like 7 years where we played out every weekend. And then I did a 4-year original project where I wrote a 12-song album. You can actually find me on YouTube. I'm there. It's called Dark Savant with 2 V's in Savant. Okay, and you can find me at the State Theater, a bunch of different places. Anyway, put that aside. That was old days. Okay, so I did know a little bit about pop culture for quite a while. Yeah, I don't really know a whole bunch about pop culture now. I don't know if that just says that I'm getting old, or maybe I'm being distant, or something of that nature. But basically, I work 2 jobs, and I do this podcast, and I have a beautiful girlfriend that lives many states away from me. So, unfortunately for me and her, we both spend a lot of lonely nights. But we do talk to each other every single day, or at least we try to every single day, and it's beautiful. But that being said, I would say that if I had to talk about pop culture, there is a rapper out there right now. Okay? And I don't really talk about rappers. And guess what? Before I talk about this rapper, we're going to take this break. Okay? I'm going to come right back with him. All right? And I'm going to tell you all about him. I'm letting you guys know. You guys are going to look him up. Because you're going to be like, wow, never heard of him. Be right back. All right, everybody, we're back, and this is the final segment of the Culturally Woke Republican. Like I said, I'm going to talk about pop culture because I guess even my girlfriend says maybe I need to climb out of my comfort zone. So we're going to put politics aside, talk about pop culture. But the guy that I'm going to talk about is very political. Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. His name is Tom MacDonald. Tom MacDonald is a Canadian rapper. He used to be a pro wrestler, believe it or not. I actually saw one of his wrestling matches on YouTube. You can look him up. Just punch in Tom MacDonald wrestling match. It'll come up. And you get to see him, literally doing some crazy stuff. I'm even sitting there, even, as young as he was, I'm thinking to myself at that age, and I boxed for 6.5 years of my life, so I was kind of like an athlete at one time, but I'm watching the stuff that he's doing in that video, and I'm just like, whoa, not my thing. But let's move on. He became a rapper, okay, and since his debut, really, the way he really got his start, he actually had several years of being a rapper, and he kind of got a little bit of popularity, but nothing, nothing serious. Maybe slightly paying the bills kind of thing. He's very tattooed. He has long hair. Usually has it in braids. But what I actually enjoy about him is his views and the things that he puts in his rap. I don't know if you guys remember, a while, well, not too far back, but a while back, basically because I'm a white straight male, I'm the enemy. You know what I mean? Gay rights think I'm trying to stop them. Feminism, it doesn't like me because I don't agree with their message. You know what I mean? It goes on the list. Okay, and he actually made a song about that. He made a song about the woke. He made a song about there's so many things that he's actually spoken about in several of his songs that really tie into the political climate that's going on today. And that's why I like him. I think to myself, I'm I don't even listen to rap. Or at least I haven't since I was a kid. But I enjoy just about every song that he's ever made. I've even gone back in the years before he actually became somewhat popular. Okay, now he's getting 1 million views on one video on Spotify and YouTube and all those other channels and stuff like that. And in one night, 1 night, 1 million videos, 1 million views.